There are some really bizarre things playing out as you watch the decline of the American empire. Objectively, we've been in decline for just about 50 years. We reached our pinnacle in the mid-1970s, 1973, 1974, right in there. For the 20 years previous, we had been the envy of the world. We had the greatest economy. We had the greatest middle class the world had ever seen. Nothing else had even come close. Everywhere you were on the planet, everyone wanted to come to America. We were the center of industry, invention, television, medicine, education. We went to the moon, something that was seen as impossible just a few years earlier. But that greater prosperity had also made it harder to keep the people in oppression. They started stepping out of line. That higher degree of education, coupled with public awareness, was making even more people say they didn't want to be part of that oppression. We could go back even farther, but really beginning in the Nixon administration, they began a concentrated effort to reverse all the ideas that had created that pinnacle of the American empire. Nixon paved the way for Ronald Reagan to wipe out virtually everything that had generated that golden era of American working class prosperity. America had been the home of the best education on the planet, starting with the children. We had the highest funded schools in all of the world. This also included higher education, which during that era of economic prosperity, a part-time job could pay your tuition even to Harvard. A part-time job might not be enough to cover your dormitory and other living expenses, but it would cover all of your tuition. By 1984, nearly all of that was wiped out. Ronald Reagan was well known as a speaker. He'd been an actor. His voice carried the sound of authority, with the tone and demeanor of the knowledgeable yet approachable grandpa figure. He was truly the Papa Smurf of the collapse of the American empire, arguably the greatest orator of American propaganda ever to exist. His words were filled with the sounds of great patriotism, while his policies were reversing everything that had previously been designed to benefit the working class. Under Reaganomics, the theory was direct all prosperity to the top echelon of the top 1%, and it would trickle down to the rest of the nation. The public was enthralled with its rhetoric of Americana and social ideas being responsible for economic prosperity. The propaganda that the stronger your belief in God and country, the greater your personal economic prosperity would be. That there would be a direct correlation between economics and social structure. Meanwhile, he was destroying the power of labor unions, encouraging all the major industries to exodus America and set up shop in foreign nations where they could reach greater profits with cheaper labor, rearranging the tax structure so the working class would pick up a larger percentage of the bill, began taxing Social Security retirements, and threw open the door to cheap migrant labor. So it's bizarre when you hear people say they want to make America great again. They're talking about that era of great prosperity that they want back. But when you look at the ideas that they propose to implement to make that happen, are they talking about restoring the policies that originally generated that prosperity? Oh, absolutely not. What they talk about is doubling down on all of the policies that destroyed the economic prosperity of that era. Put Reaganomics on overdrive. Focus even harder on social components. Focus even harder on God, country, and nationalism, while giving absolutely no recognition to the key elements involved in what created that thriving middle-class economy and what eviscerated that middle-class economy. You know how they say history repeats itself? And this is one of the great examples of how history repeats itself. Empires in decline are never capable of recognizing the causes of their own decline. To recognize the cause of decline would require leadership to recognize and address their own failures. It wasn't caused by your successes. Success doesn't cause decline. It was caused by your failures. It was your bad ideas that created the decline. So, as we've seen these Make America Great Again people double down on their bad ideas, this accelerates the speed of an empire's decline. This is why empires have crash landings and not soft landings.